Regent Pérez.
Madam Chair, I struggle with how to respond to these reports. I'm frustrated with how we've gotten to this point. And I associate myself with the comments of so many people, starting with Regent Bahari, but also with Regent Saris with respect to our role in facilitating conversation and discourse. I hate war. I hate violence. I hate the loss of life that we've seen. But this is a place where I'm also frustrated by a pattern of what I see of both Sides-ism that doesn't pay adequate attention to any of the issues at hand. I remember back to after 9/11 when I chaired the Los Angeles Human Relations Commission and had to go with the Muslim leaders of the city of Los Angeles to call for rational discussion and to protect vulnerable Muslims in our community who were being targeted. And nobody asked me to then speak out against anti-Semitism because I was speaking out against Islamophobia and targeting of Muslims in a way that was unfair and unjust and based on something that they had nothing to do with. But yet, too often when we talk about the perniciousness of anti-Semitism in our community and on our campuses, we're compelled to then talk about something else. When I was speaker, there was a pattern of horrific, racist attacks against African Americans on college campuses. At UC San Diego, we had the Compton Cookout. At San Jose State, we had attacks on a student who had a bike lock put around his neck and thrown in a closet. At campus after campus, we saw those hateful incidents. I put together a task force chaired by now Secretary of State Shirley Weber. And nobody asked us to talk about anything else because we were talking about that hateful attack on African Americans. At the beginning of COVID, when we saw a rise in anti-Asian hate crimes, nobody asked us to talk about something else. When we responded to the horrific killing of George Floyd and other examples of racist use of police forces, there was a clear response between people who were saying Black Lives Matter and people who were saying all lives matter, not because, yes, we believe that all lives matter, but that it was taking away the focus from the discussion of what was critically before us at that moment. And I'm frustrated that even on October 8th, when Israel had not yet responded, every call to speak out against the horrific terrorist attack of October 7th was met with a both sides approach. Yes, we should concern ourselves with all expressions of hate and of violence and of death, but to do it in a reflexive way that denies the crisis of a moment is problematic. I don't want us to conflate these two issues. I'd like us to deal with both of them appropriately, seriously, and with appropriate focus. When the Trump administration issued the Muslim travel ban, I went and met with Muslim students around our campuses and went to LAX to protest the ban. Nobody asked me to speak out against something else. But when I've gone to speak to Jewish students on campuses, in some cases of our administration have pushed back and said, if you're going to meet with Jewish students, you have to meet with Muslim students. When I go meet with gay students, nobody tells me I have to go meet with somebody else. When I go meet with Latino students, nobody tells me I have to go do something else. And what I think that we do subtly is we give less credence to certain expressions of hate that divide our community and that make some of our students, yes, our faculty, our staff, our broader community feel that this is not a place that's truly inclusive of them. The two reports are substantively different. I think we have to respond to each of them, but we have to make sure that we don't continue to reflexively engage in both sides the activity that discounts certain forms of hate. There is a perniciousness of the anti-Semitism that we've seen on our campuses and in broader society that is not paralleled by anything else today. There is an absolute perniciousness. And so we can't treat this as just an administrative exercise and compliment ourselves for a conversation. We have to ask ourselves how we deal with these moral challenges in real time that speak to an incredibly pernicious problem that's plaguing our communities and tearing our campuses apart. Thank you, Madam Chair.